There we go. As it says on screen for us, we are live, the four of us. It looks like Ellen didn't get the black t-shirt memo.
No, I was just thinking that. Kind of avocado green, though.
Yes, I like that. Like that a lot. Hope everyone's had a good week. I'm joined with Matt, who is obviously the Avocado partner covering Wokingham, Ellen from Bracknell, and Tristan from the landlord page covering all things landlords, tenants, and rental market. So I'm excited for this conversation. If people have been looking forward to it and seeing the topics that we're going to chat through, just to remind everyone, we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in the property market, Bracknell and Wokingham. We're going to talk about the rental market. We're going to talk about the EPC debate that is going across the landlord market at the moment. Talk a little bit insight into completion days and what happens on completion days, because a lot of people don't actually know what happens. Touch a little bit on some news articles that have come through in the last 24 hours about the London market, and actually prices dropping according to Rightmove in August, which is interesting, and we might have something different to say about that, I'm sure. So yeah, these are the areas that we're going to cover. Mortgage rates as well. I did a little live on our page a couple of days ago, but want to cover some unbelievable mortgage deals. Ellen, I know you've got a mortgage chat booked in with your brokers as well on your page soon, so that's probably an interesting one. Little plug for you there. So first of all, I'm going to go to you, Ellen, as we are side by side on this video. How are things in Bracknell? How is the property market? And how are you?
Yeah, all good on all fronts. It's been an interesting one. Normally, sort of every year, August comes around and sort of forget that people are on holiday, the kids are off school, and property market really slows down, and that just hasn't happened. I guess it's not really a normal year, so yeah, that's really good. We've still struggling we've got a huge amount of buyers registering and just not enough properties to keep them full. So that's a big thing, as I'm sure all you other guys are experiencing as well. Yeah.
Is that the theme for you at the moment in Wokingham, Matthew? I think, I mean, across the board, we can see, I think the data is about 38% less listings coming to the market now compared to 2019. So definitely seems to be a lack of supply at the moment. How is the Wokingham property market at the moment?
It's exactly the same as what Ellen just said. In truth, it's a good market. There's lots of really, really good buyers out there at the moment. Very solid positions. A lot of them are in rented actually, which in truth provide a really solid no chain sort of buying position for the onward move. I think for me, the 38% thing, it sounds about right in truth, because there just isn't enough out there for what people are looking for. I expect that with the summer holidays, whilst the market's still been good, as Ellen suggested, I think a lot of people are taking the opportunity whilst they still can to get away, go and enjoy themselves for the summer holidays with the kids and bits and pieces. It wouldn't surprise me if we see a pickup in the next couple of weeks, certainly with some new listings. I know I'm working on a couple of bits and pieces at the moment, which is going to be hopefully coming to the market in the next 2 to 3 weeks. But for me, it's what people are most looking for at the moment is they're looking for houses. That's really what they're after. The amount of buyers I got out there looking for 2, 3, 4 bedroom houses, I know it seems quite broad, but the 2-bedroom market up to sort of 350, 3-bed market up to about 500, and 4 bedrooms up to anything up to 800,000. The buyer market out there is crazy, and there's a real good choice of good buyers out there.
Nice. No, it sounds positive. It's interesting actually, because it's the London market which seems to be the market that has impacted the prices according to Rightmove with a drop. And what the news article relates to is the fact that a lot of people are no longer needing to be in London because they don't need to work from the city, and therefore places like Berkshire, Surrey, Hampshire, Buckinghamshire, these sort of areas that we cover, home counties, they seem to be very, very active, very busy on all fronts for buyers and tenants at the moment. But the London market seems to have had that little bit of a hit, and I think we've definitely seen tenants and buyers coming out of the city looking to buy or rent. Tristan, from your perspective, from a landlord and from a tenancy perspective, have you ever seen it as crazy as this for demand for rental properties at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, I've done quite a few lives recently, and we've been speaking about it quite a lot. I've never been in a marketplace where it's been as crazy as it is. I think stock from January onwards has been really, really light coming onto the market, and when they're coming on, they're going quick. So they are coming on, just not as much as what it would typically come on. And because there's a backlog of people wanting certain properties, the moment that comes up, it goes straight away. Prime example was the one you had the other day in Hive Close in Bracknell, 2-bed terraced house. Obviously, I'll speak on behalf of you, but you had to turn it offline because there was in excess of sort of 50, maybe 60 inquiries, and the phones just would not stop ringing. So took it off market. They were obviously narrowed down to the number of people going out to view, but there was 5 good viewings, I believe, took place and multiple offers, and you've achieved 1250, which is substantially more than a 2-bed round there would normally achieve. It's typically, historically, it's been 1100, 1150 max. So you've got a premium price, multiple offers. So it's just showing about how crazy it is. And going back to what you said a minute ago about the London market, believe it or not, I've actually registered 2 people today that's going out to view my property in Shinfield at the weekends. I listed a 3-bed townhouse for 1800, and they're moving from sort of Richmond direction because they don't need to be in London anymore. They may need to go in 1 or 2 days a week, but it's very accessible to go in. So they're looking to come out, reduce their costs. And we're seeing it from lettings as well as obviously you guys from sales seeing people come out because you're not needing to go into London anymore.
Absolutely. It seems to be the theme, doesn't it? And we read that theme probably about 9 months ago when we started doing these lives and started seeing the double ripple, which is what I'm calling it now. You've got the ripple of people coming from the city to the home counties. And there's a lot of people from the home counties in areas like this that are selling up and moving, to the water, to the coast, to the Lake District, places like that as well, which is lovely. Got Tom watching us on one of the channels. He's asking us a question in 2 parts where he probably hit the keyboard enter a little bit quicker than he thought. Are apartments starting to make a comeback? So apartment market, I was talking to Dan actually from Dan and Neil Estate Agents over in Shinfield, and he is astonished at the rate of which apartments are actually moving now. And he actually feels a lot of estate agents underestimate the apartment market at the moment. And he's seeing a lot of apartments that have been struggling to sell with other agents that they're taking on, doing maybe better photos, bit of social media campaign, really strong marketing video like we all like to do, selling them within 72 hours with no problem at all, where they've been on the market for 8, 10, 12 weeks with other agents. So first-time buyers, Ellen, working out of Bracknell is typically a first-time buyer market. The rates at the moment are amazing for first-time buyers, for anyone really, but in particular, those first-time buyers that are now able to get on the property ladder and it's very affordable.
Yeah, they really are. And I think the thing is with apartments is they're still selling, and they're selling well. They're just taking sort of a little bit longer. So I think where a lot of agents might fall foul to it is they see them on the stock list and they get bored, they get forgotten about. Whereas you have to just keep sort of putting it out there, letting people know what it is, where it is, that it is there for sale, and the right buyers are there and they will come along. Part of the challenge, like you said, that first-time buyers can afford so much more now than they used to, not just because of interest rates, but for the last kind of 18 months, no one's been going out. So all of a sudden, disposable income has been topping up deposit levels. So where they used to be kind of limited to buying apartments, they've actually got that bit more now that they can stretch to the 2-bedroom house. And so that, makes it a little bit trickier. But there's still buyers out there, especially lock up and leave kind of things. There's people that specifically want that. So,
and as well with apartments, the great thing about them is if you look at a classic first-time buyer terrace house, then you look at the size of an apartment. If you are spending more time at home, you want someone to have a dining table because you want to entertain, have some friends over for a glass of wine on a Friday, you need to work from home, like I say, then in reality, apartment could be the best option if you're not necessarily looking for freehold and a garden. In Wokingham, Matt, I often think of Wokingham as sort of an old money town. There's good money, good affluent business owners that own properties in Wokingham. Typically, that's the sort of classic demographic. And one of the rates of the week that came out from Dave Howard for AFP Wokingham last week was 60% loan to value. So if you've got 40% equity in your house or a 40% deposit, you can get a mortgage deal at 0.83% at the moment.
Yeah, that's cheap, isn't it? That's really good. And interestingly, there's a lot. When you talk about old money, you're absolutely right, and that's no offense to anybody here watching, thinking that they're in the old bracket. But there's a lot of people that have owned their homes for a significant period of time now, and they've owned them when prices were significantly lower, and we've seen inflation grow those. And I think what now's proving that you look at pensions, investments, models, put monies in a savings account, you don't get a particularly good return on investment from those. And something that Tristan and I talk about is the opportunity that people have got to leverage capital from their existing home to be able to buy a buy-to-let property to then rent it out. And then you're looking at, we talk on return on investment of somewhere between sort of 4 and 5%, where in any sort of national savings account, you're probably looking at no more than 1 if you're lucky. And you're looking at appreciation off the back of it. So there is a real opportunity with rates being as low as they are to be able to maximise on the value of the capital you've got within your home to be able to buy a second home. And I think that with the opportunities that then presents, I know sometimes becoming a landlord can seem a little bit scary, but the benefit of working with Tristan and the team that we've got at Avocado is that we've got it all nailed down, haven't we? There is every opportunity that's out there. And I think there's a really good opportunity for people that are looking for an additional source of income to be able to generate additional income through having capital sitting there, not doing anything. Now, that works 2 ways. That works in an ability for the properties that we've got coming onto the market, flats, apartments, houses, to be able to rent, to be able to sell, to find them first and to sell them and then move them on. And then obviously we pass them across to Tristan and the landlord team to be able to go and find a good quality tenant, because as we know, there's a real good selection out there. And I think the opportunity that a lot of towns have got, not just Wokingham, is that you've got a lot of people out there with a lot of money tied up in homes and property, whereas rates with them being as cheap as they are, why wouldn't you take advantage of it?
Absolutely. Got Rob there jumping in and just passing a comment towards your direction. Ellen, great video on new listing that you've just got in Warfield, which is great to see. I totally agree, Matt. I think we were talking, me and Tristan, actually, we were recording a podcast yesterday with Akil from our mortgage broker, and it's one of the things we were talking about is investing, and not just investing in property in one bucket, but the different options you've got. So if someone is sat out there at the moment, they're thinking, I want to put some money into property, but I don't quite know where, what, how, then have a chat with you, Tristan, because it seems pretty active at the moment. Just briefly, I don't want to go on too long with it, but EPCs, there's a bit of debate for landlords as we're talking about property investment. What's the EPC debate going through the landlord market at the moment, Tristan?
So it was raised last week. It's going to be going to MPs, obviously, to discuss. Basically, they're looking at jumping a few bands. At the moment, you need a minimum E rating to obviously rent your property. If not, you need to bring it up to the standard, which obviously can cost quite a bit of money depending on how much work's required in order to do that. There were a few exemptions on them as well, depending on the works and whether they had the money to be able to bring it up to that standards. But there's still obviously cost elements in order to get the exemption, and obviously a process to follow. They're looking at jumping that straight from an E to a C, which is a massive jump. It's not even going up in stages. Based on, there was research done by a company, an independent company, and they have worked out how many billions it's going to cost landlords in order to make it work, how many properties will require improvements. And based upon the average of what they've calculated, it's just under 10,000 per property. So not a lot of people do have 10,000 to play with straight away. Depending on what the property is, obviously, if there's an older property, it will require more work. I did put a video out 2 days ago, just asking for people's comments on that. In my personal opinion, I think that's a bit extreme, jumping up in 2 categories. I think going up to the next band would be fair. It's obviously they've done that on the last one, bringing it up to an E, which is understandable. It gives people time to obviously get the money together, get the work done, because it's not going to happen overnight. They need to arrange access through tenants and whatnot, which can be, depending on the extent of the work, can be quite a bit of an issue with a tenant if there's a lot of work required. So in my opinion, I think it's a crazy jump, but obviously it's not confirmed. It's just talk at the moment. And I'd be interested to get everyone else's views on that. Obviously, some of you guys have shared on the Instagram post that I've done, but anyone else that's watching that's got a property and is unsure, then feel free to message me. But I'd be interested to hear everyone else's views.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to get those comments, because in reality, if you're looking at a buy-to-let and you have to have a C rating, you're probably talking about only purchasing properties that were built within the last 15 years, something like that. If you've got single glazed windows as an example, and you've got a house that was built in the 1980s, perfectly good, lovely home for, young family or couples with no problems at all, is never going to get a C unless you get the double glazing done. So yeah, it's a lot of money that could go into it. Interesting topic. Love people's comments on that. Thank you to everyone that's saying hi. Got a couple of people here that have been saying hi, which is great. Hello. I'm going to drop the C bomb here. Christmas.
Oh, already.
So we're getting to the end of summer holidays, 2 weeks. The reason why I'm going to drop it in this conversation is because of the amount of time it's taking to get transactions through now compared to what it was before. In reality, if you're not on the market and sold and your chain wrapped up within the next 4 or 5 weeks, you're probably not moving before Christmas, I would say, is probably fair. That's quite scary, Ellen.
Yeah.
But true.
It is. I think people kind of take for granted that, we're sat here in August, you're going on months, it's not even kind of discussed at the point of agreeing the sale unless the topic is kind of warranted by, we're sort of making people talk about it. And it's really important, if that's your plan, and you're not planning on being in where you live now for another Christmas dinner, then get a move on. You need to nag your agents, nag your solicitors, do what you need to do to make it happen.
I think there's another reason as well, probably to talk to, if you're selling in Bracknell, Ellen, if you're selling in Wokingham, Matthew, another reason to talk to us from a property perspective is as we get to the end of the summer holidays, I would imagine there'll be an influx of properties in September and October. There always is. They've always been typically very active months, not quite January, February level, but probably the next 2 best months of the year for new listings. And it is a bit of a bum fight out there for listings. So if you are looking at selling to purchase somewhere and you don't want to miss out on the influx of family homes coming to the market after the summer holidays, talk to us now, because if you're one of our clients, we can tell you about them before they hit the internet. Obviously follow the pages for the Beat the Portals, but we can let you know what we're talking about and who we're talking to. And you're going to need to be in the power position to get those great homes that come available across that kind of 4 to 6 weeks. Otherwise you lose out, don't you, Matt? Really, if you're not on and not ready, someone else is going to pounce, I would have thought.
Right. Absolutely. And there's a load of people I've been speaking to at the moment because there's less on the market. They've got less interest in sort of making the move quickly because they can't see what they need to move to next. So a lot of the conversations, it's more of an education at the moment with a lot of the sellers who are eventually going to be buyers, is that, well, we'll wait until we see something come onto the market first before we then look to put ours on. I get the logic on it, because if you don't know where you want to go to, then why would you want to sell yours? But if you know there's so many buyers out there, which there are, there's loads of them, and you've got limited amount of properties that are coming onto the market, as we are at the moment, we hope to see more coming on. Why? You need to put yourself into position. So when you find that right property, you're already under offer, so that you can go to them and go, okay, fine, I'm under offer. I've got an agreement in principle. I can do this. I can move within these timescales, rather than go to them and go, okay, fine, yeah, I can put my property on the market. It's very saleable. It's selling in a couple of weeks. Any chance I can have it? The problem is, there's going to be 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7 other people that are going to be wanting that property, and not just you, that are going to be in that position. There's also a lot of people at the moment that have been in rented, where they've decided they're going to move across from London, haven't been able to find the property they want, moved into an area to suss out where they want to live, moved into rented originally, and now find themselves in a position where they don't want to keep paying lots of money in rent, and they'd much prefer to put it into a property to buy it. Whereas they're going to be in an even stronger position than the people that are needing to sell theirs first to then move on. So if you are in a position where you're thinking about doing something, you want to move on and try and find the next home for you, it's upsize, downsize, or whatever, you need to be getting your property onto the market, agreeing it, being very specific with your buyer on timescales and what your plans are and what you're looking for, because a lot of buyers out there will work with their seller, absolutely will, and they need to make sure that you are on the market and sold before you start getting out there having a look at property, so you're in the best position to be able to achieve that next property for you and your family.
Yeah. Totally agree. Get in that power position and tell us what you're after. Tell us what you're looking for, and hopefully you don't lose out on that dream home, because there's much less available at the moment. Generally speaking, for landlords at the moment, Tristan, obviously we know renting a property is not necessarily the issue, but renting the property to a certain someone is maybe something that I thought we'd just quickly touch on, because it's easy to let to the wrong tenant in the wrong circumstances when you're dealing with a classic high street agent that's got targets for viewings and calls and this, that, and the other, and deals. One of the things that you mentioned there was a particular property, obviously in Bracknell, that we've recently let. Same with one in Shinfield. There's a lot of inquiries, but what was interesting with the one in Hive Close in Bracknell, actually only showed 6 people round. So there's a lot of high qualification going through, because we're all part of the same team here at Avocado. So there's no I get the commission or you get the commission. So from a landlord's perspective, I think that's quite a big USP for someone that maybe is thinking, who do I use next? There's a little plug for us here, but I would say come and talk to Tristan at the landlord page, because we're going to find you the right tenant, because there's a lot of them out there. And we're getting over asking price on a lot of rentals as well at the moment, as we are with sales, which is really good. In terms of Bracknell market at the moment, Ellen, what's the classic kind of search criteria? What's the golden egg in Bracknell at the moment that everyone's looking for?
There's 2 really. We've got kind of first time buyers, 2 or actually even 3 beds up to that kind of early mid 300s mark. So yeah, kind of 2 or 3 bedroom houses up to about 350, and then second to that, we've got really from the people that are selling those, looking for your kind of 4 beds up to and around that kind of 575 to 650 mark. That's the real kind of bread and butter, and that's really what we're sort of on the hunt for to get people moving.
Sounds good. Wokingham, what's kind of you said obviously 2, 3, 4 bed houses,
pretty much
5 beds, 6 beds, 7 beds,
5, 6, 7, 8. If we can work on a couple of 9s, that'd be lovely. The first time buyer market out there is that I'll tell you, based on who I'm talking to at the moment, you've got first time buyers that are currently living with parents. Like Ellen mentioned earlier, they've probably saved more than they would have planned to over the past year to 18 months, got more money in their back pocket, so realise they can generate a little bit more on the mortgage. They realise rates are low, so they're looking for the sort of the 2 bedrooms with a house, garden. They love the thought of spending a bit of time in the garden with the nice weather, and they're looking sort of up to sort of 350, even to touch more than that. You've got families that are sort of growing families moving from the 2 to 3 bedroom market. And again, mortgage rates being as cheap as they are with equity built up in a home, they're now looking up to sort of 500,000. You've got a load of families that I'm talking to at the moment. And I'll go back to the scenario I gave you earlier with regards to families that have come away from London, have got a pot of money that they got from when they sold theirs. They've moved into rented. They don't want to continue renting forever. They've still got £700,000-800,000 sat in their bank account that they want to invest and spend. They're looking for those big 4 or 5 bedroom houses. And we've got a real mixture of what people want out there. Now, it might seem like that's pretty much covered 300,000 to about 900, but there are many buyers out there on all of those areas. And it's crazy, really. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a crazy market, and I know I threw the Christmas thing in there, but it is something at the moment that we're trying to be upfront and honest with everyone with what's going on, and the transaction times are taking that much longer. And often what we're finding at the moment, on the day of handing the keys over to the new buyer, they've made money on that particular property, and the person that sold it has hopefully made money on the one they've bought already. And that market I haven't personally seen since 06, 07. So it's an exciting time in the local property market at the moment. Ellen, give us a little bit of a rundown on completion day at Avocado.
I love completion day. So obviously it's waiting for that call to land from the solicitors just to confirm it's all gone through. We've got everyone waiting outside their houses in moving vans and whatnot. So we will meet the people moving out probably the day before completion, just to do a quick run through of the house as well, make sure that we know where meters are and that kind of thing. Answer any kind of obvious questions that the buyers might have the next day. And we always give a nice couple of little personalised gifts for the sellers as well, depending on where they're going, how much we might load them up with. And then, completion day comes around. We've got the keys. We'll head to the house, meet the new buyers, show them the obvious stuff, meter readings, where the stopcock is, all the kind of important stuff. And another load of kind of personalised gifts that we tend to get from other local businesses around, just to kind of support alike. So it's a good day all round.
Celebration. It's a celebration. Matt, we've worked in the industry for a fairly similar amount of time, and one of the things that we've probably both experienced in previous roles at normal estate agents is the stress of a completion day, where you have to go and drop the keys off to the estate agent, then you've got to go to the next estate agent and get the keys, and then go back, and the removal guys are all waiting. Just a nicer experience, I think. It's fun. It makes it enjoyable on the day. We try and keep it stress-free, and it's a special day for people in their life when they buy a new home, I think.
Yeah, I think exactly that. I think it's I think irrespective of how many times you've moved, you still enjoy the day that you pick up your new set of keys for your next home. There's no words about it. I think where you and I have worked in the industry for the time that we have, we've often seen those calls that have come in going, okay, my delivery guy is going to be arriving at this time. I need to make sure I'm in by that time. I've got Virgin or Sky arriving at this time because I need to make sure I'm set up working from home. Any chance you can drop the keys back for us? And the amount of times you hear others go, no, we can't do that. I'm really sorry. You're going to need to come into the office to come and get them. And they're like, oh, how am I going to fit that in to do it? So I think that where we do it differently, which I really applaud and I think is a great model for what estate agency really should be, is that we make sure that we do our best to make sure that home move process, as soon as completion happens, keys are there, welcome pack, everything's done, and they can enjoy their home straight away. And then bag of sweets, and
I just saw them.
Yeah, I know a lot of the other partners do. Like Ellen said, working with other local businesses. I know some of the other partners really try and look after the other local businesses that they work with. Like one of the other partners gives a bottle of gin from a local distillery, and I think that's just it's a really nice touch, a really nice thought, and I think just
Alan Keyring as well.
Yeah, Alan Keyring as well. Absolutely right. Yeah. And I think it's a nice journey for people.
No, definitely. No, I just saw those out the corner of my eye.
I'm surprised they're not open already.
He pitched them from the office, really.
He's going to be hard. That is going to be hard not to eat those later. Sweet Tiger, Crowthorne High Street. We get these from. Great business, and nice little bag of sweets there. Tenants and buyers get those on completion day. Love this conversation. I don't want to keep anyone much longer. We said we'd wrap up around 6:30. It's interesting to hear what's going on in Wokingham. Always interesting to chat about Bracknell and find out what's going on in that busy market. And it's interesting to hear from your perspective, Tristan, what happens with the EPCs. Obviously, keep us updated, keep all the partners updated on the EPC debate and what happens there when it does go to Parliament. It'd be always interesting to know. And let's just enjoy this time where it's very busy. If anyone's got any questions and we're not live because you're watching it later on or you're watching it tomorrow or you've seen a sponsored ad or something like that, still comment because we can answer the questions at any time. We do get alerts that the comments are in there. If you want to DM us because you've got a question about a property you're thinking of selling or letting, obviously always welcome to have that conversation as well and explain how we would do things. As Rob mentioned, the videos are pretty epic. Ellen's recent one, if anyone's watching on the other pages wants to see that in Warford, it's a really cool video. So it's been good fun, as always. I'll be back here at 6:00 next Thursday. Love doing these partner chats, just really good half-hour update on what's going on with the property market. And I'll let everyone get back to their evenings.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
See you later.
Have a good